Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro football today here on SportsGrid. This hour, we will continue to go through today's divisional round matchups. The Patriots host the Houston Texans, and then the Chicago Bears, a home underdog to the Los Angeles Rams. We'll be joined by the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao, to give us a little bit of clarity on the Bo Nix play and what maybe he saw on the play that we're told is where the ankle injury came in. It's all still feels just so bizarre. Of course, the injury analysis needed for these matchups. And we will talk to NFL insider Adam Caplan around the latest news in the National Football League, Joe, which includes the Atlanta Falcons finalizing their deal with Kevin Stefanski, the former Cleveland Browns head coach, to become their new lead man. Do you like this move for Atlanta?
I do. Again, we talk about their last two head coaches, Raheem Morris and Arthur Smith. I think they were absolutely identical in trying to cultivate and coach up the offensive talent. And now Stefanski actually has young offensive weapons that he could tutor and mentor potentially to a division title. What's Stefanski now in that division? I put them as the front runner to potentially to win the South. I just do. I think he's that good of a head coach, and I think he's better than Bowles. I think he's better than Canales at this point. And again, I mean, he'll certainly know how to utilize Bijan Robinson the right way. And I know that they started getting that identity with him in the middle part of the year, and he became one of the most dominant running backs. But, again, in big spots, the offensive, I want to say, philosophy sort of was inconsistent for Atlanta, and he'll bring back that consistency. Again, are they going to be a 14-win football team? No, but I like the defensive talent that they have. I think they could certainly be an 11-win football team next year.
So my thing with Kevin Stefanski is I think he has the ability to be a really good
It's only 43, Kev,
first
I thought he was older
coach.
Than that.
Right. But there is weird stuff with Stefanski. I think he's occasionally given up play calling duty. I've never really understood that. He also has never found a great relationship with any of the quarterbacks in Cleveland. Now, some of that is because they weren't his guys. He didn't draft Baker. Watson was pushed on him. I think clearly Shador and maybe Dylan Gabriel were as well. But he's not going to go into a situation in Atlanta where it's his guy. I actually think it's on the board that Stefanski would probably love a Kirk Cousins season and then just draft somebody in 2027, truly. Maybe he'll love Michael Penix. Penix is a gunslinger at heart, so perhaps that'll work with what Stefanski wants to be and how he'd prefer to operate here. I think it does put Atlanta in the position where they could very well be the very early favorite in the NFC South, right? From when those offseason odds open, I think it's on the board that their Super Bowl price for next year is the same, if not shorter, than Tampa Bay's. So I think that is all there. I like the Stefanski hire. I think it gives Atlanta the type of ceiling that they were looking for with what they already have in the building. I just think that there has been some. Again, it doesn't seem, Joe, that he has ever had this A-plus relationship with a quarterback that he's had in Cleveland. So I think a part of coaching is the X's and O's, the in-game decision-making, and another part of it is the relationships and the leader aspect of it all. And I don't think it's unfair that I have some questions from Stefanski on that third rung.
No, it's not. It's understandable, but let me ask you this. You think it's, with a younger team, it's easier to potentially break through in that aspect? Younger players, to your point, like Penix and Drake London and Pitts and Bijan, where, they're looking to be taken to the next level. And I'm just saying.
No, I hear you, and I think sometimes guys need a change of scenery, and I wonder if he needed it as much as anybody in Cleveland, right? Like, I think the Browns having to fire Kevin Stefanski is more of a failure on them than Stefanski himself. So I'm not saying I don't like the move for Atlanta. I am just not rushing to promise they'll be in the playoffs next year or this is going to go great. I'm sure Stefanski would love the opportunity to draft a round one quarterback. That is not an opportunity he has had yet as a head coach. So, but again, this team is a ways away from doing that. They don't even have their own first-round draft pick this year. Now, the other coaching story that was finalized, Joe, was Harbaugh to the Giants. For me, I don't love how dragged out it was, but listen, Harbaugh entered into this cycle seemingly with all the power in the world, and he exercised that. We talk about the different elements for a coach. I believe this is such an overhyped thing. I cannot believe the way people are discussing a guy who failed down the stretch in Baltimore and was fired because of that. People are like, listen, they'll win 9-10 games. No, that's what he did at Baltimore because that was like the bare minimum that you could do in Baltimore. I do not think John Harbaugh is a guarantee to get this Giants team to the promised land. I in any capacity. And I also think it's a little sad that people are like, at least the Giants will win 10 games. Again, one, that should not be your only goal. And two, I don't think that is some guarantee. I think the Giants are still very likely, Joe, to enter next year with the longest odds of any team in the NFC East to win that division.
That's possible, but I still think it's an upgrade from what they had with Brian Dable.
Being an upgrade, though, is not the ball.
Here's the problem. All right, so I think they could be a 9-win football team, 10 wins.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Is it worth $20 million? I mean, are
but
we
also,
not?
He does.
We're talking. We're talking like Nick Saban walked into MetLife. I'm just saying.
I agree. He does not have this crazy winning pedigree that everybody wants to assign.
$20 million.
They've been the Super Bowl favorites for like 4 years running. They've played in one conference championship game. Jackson Dart is not Lamar Jackson. Every single year, the Ravens, you mentioned where does Buffalo's roster stack up? Well, every year we were told Baltimore had one of the 2-3 best rosters in football. The Giants do not have that.
No.
He doesn't coach offense. He does not coach defense. And there were leadership issues in Baltimore. His in-game decision-making came with questions. Other than that, he's great.
Well,
what are we doing?
He comes from the tree of Jack. Good. He comes from the coaching tree. These coaches, he is the perfect Giants hire, though. Because the Giants for years, right?
They've told themselves
the Giants like the conservative,
them.
The Maras and the Tisches. They like a conservative guy that just is the face of the franchise. Everybody could talk great about him, and they got off the beaten path when they hired hacks like Dable and Joe Judge and Pat Shurmur and I mean, come on. I mean, think about the hacks that they had as head coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, complete clowns. I mean, seriously.
I think some of it, Joe, like, we work obviously in the sports betting space, right? The idea of a gamble.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, the idea to play it safe. What I think the Giants are doing is making a move that is safe. And if it doesn't work out, it's like no blood on our hands, not our fault. Everybody said this would be safe. Some of the other openings, Joe, that are out there, we have markets for these. Baltimore and Cleveland's coaches now hired. I still cannot really figure out why Jesse Minter is such a favorite to get the Baltimore job. Like, we're going to hire a Harbaugh disciple. Why did you fire John then? I do not understand the Minter thing.
They're hoping Ed Reed and Ray Lewis come back through the door. I mean, isn't that what they want?
I just don't be honest with yourself. You fired John Harbaugh because of his relationship with Lamar. Why would you hire a Harbaugh disciple? They're all connected. They're all again. Greg Roman's worked for a Harbaugh for like 15 straight years. I do not understand why it would be Jesse Minter. Flores, Saleh, Clint Kubiak, Mike McDaniel. They all make Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Brady, Chris Shula. I do not understand this.
It's the way organizations go about. Some organizations just want the layup hire.
Right.
I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Yeah. Miami, by the way, hot on this Jeff Hafley. You'll be begging for Mike McDaniel by week 5. Let's talk to Adam Caplan next, right here on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, Pro Football Today. We are back right here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, now joined by NFL insider Adam Caplan. And Cap, it's obviously a very busy time of year. We had some news trickle in last night out of Atlanta that they're going to be hiring Kevin Stefanski, a multiple-time actual head coach of the year award winner. What have you heard around this move out of Atlanta?
Yeah, so Kevin, I would say this kind of came to fruition late in the week. It seemed, I'm going to say, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I got a call from somebody in coaching who wants to join Stefanski's staff and said everything that he had heard was pretty positive about him getting the job, and Stefanski had to get through the second interview, which went great. And this is kind of part of why they're hiring him. He went through a lot of challenges with the quarterback position. Everybody knows about Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, others over his tenure of the 6 years that he was with the Browns. And the first 4 years made 2 head coach of the years. 2 coach of the year awards from Associated Press. That's impressive, Kevin. If you look at what it's like to try to win in Cleveland, good luck to even having a winning record. It's hard to do that. And Stefanski had that at least twice during his first 4 years. Now, the last 2 years, the quarterback position completely cratered. As I let you guys know a week and a half ago, when I was told he didn't have the support that he once had in their building. And that's why Jimmy Haslam, the owner, moved on from Kevin. But Stefanski will go on to Atlanta, where, you know what? They've got a lot of talent. The problem is the quarterback position. They don't know exactly what Michael Penix would be ready from yet another ACL injury. Ironically, it could be Kirk Cousins, who's under contract, by the way. It could be Kirk Cousins, who Stefanski coached in Minnesota. It's just kind of funny how things work out.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go with Cousins potentially. If they have success early, would Penix then take a back seat, Cap, if the team is 7-1, let's just say, and he can't get back into the mix?
Yeah, there's no way to know that, Joe. That's, we're, a season away. There's no way to know that. But Michael Penix is the future. Now, one thing, though, Joe, we have to talk about is, yes, Cousins is under contract. They already owe him $10 million of the total cash that's due, that's fully guaranteed. So they have to make a decision. Do they want him definitely on the team? You would think with Stefanski's history with him, and they had success with the Vikings, coupled with the Penix injury. Now, typically the way it works is if Cousins, Joe, is their quarterback to start the season and they get off to a great start, even if Penix is ready, you kind of delay it. It's all situational. You have to look at how is he playing, where's Penix in his recovery from his ACL injury. And Penix has had 4 major injuries in his career, at least. And that's something that Terry Fontenot, the former general manager, knew when he drafted him. Unfortunately, he rolled snake eyes with his injury history.
So, Cap, there's still a number of openings out there. The Giants job filled, the Atlanta job filled. Anything insight you can give us on some of the jobs that are still up for grabs?
All right, so let's go to Tennessee. Let's go to Nashville. So as I told you guys 2 months ago, Matt Nagy, even I think if before Brian Callahan was fired, I said, you're going to watch, it's going to come out at some point that Matt Nagy's high on the list of Mike Berganti, the general manager, and he is. Matt Nagy's clearly the favorite. Now, not only is Nagy getting a second interview, I think which might be today, others have gotten second interviews. So it's not a lock, but he's still the favorite from what I understand, what I've been told for several weeks. And what they want is they want someone to develop Cam Ward. And that's, and you look at their list now, there's some defensive guys, but mostly offensive. Brian Dable interviewed Friday, I'm told, who's on the list of a bunch of teams to be a coordinator. He's also, guys, he's on a bunch of head coaching candidates lists to be a coordinator. So he's definitely in demand after being let go by the Giants. Miami, guys, look, it's, as I told you from the start of this, Jeff Hafley's the clear favorite. He still is. He's the defensive coordinator for the Packers. He and the new general manager of the Dolphins work together with the Packers, so they know each other. This is comfortability. This is why these things happen. It's not a lot, but Hafley's the clear favorite. And Pittsburgh, it's not a lock that it'll be a defensive-minded head coach, guys, but the way that I've understood it, they want someone who wants to run the football. That's what they want. They want to win with defense and the run game. The quarterback will probably be secondary. And they've made it clear they like to have Aaron Rodgers back, but with his situation with Mike Tomlin and those two develop a great relationship, the Steelers actually think it's unlikely that he'll return. But the problem with the Steelers is, guys, this is why it's a middle-of-the-road job, despite a lot of talent on defense and DK Metcalf at receiver. You don't have a quarterback answer. That's part of the situations when you look at these open jobs.
Cap, I want to talk about the Eagles. They need an OC after firing Patullo. I'm looking at some of these names: Zach Robinson, Jim Bob Cooter, Mike Kafka. I mean, could they get better than that? I mean, are they going to look at McDaniel or potentially an elite OC? What are you hearing?
Yeah, so they like Mike McDaniel, but the problem is he's trying to be a head coach again. He's on lists. He's interviewed. He's interviewed for other offensive coordinator jobs. So that the Eagles and other teams have to see how that shakes out. What head coaching job does he have a serious chance to get? And then Mike Kafka, you got to remember, Malik Neighbors got hurt. Malik Neighbors got hurt. He got hurt early with the ACL injury. So obviously that impacts majorly their passing game. Mike Kafka, I'm told from talking to guys who've worked with him, he's very creative. And obviously he was the interim head coach for the Giants. And he was drafted by Howie Roseman. I think it was Howie's first draft. Howie's the GM of the Eagles. So the two obviously know each other. Jim Bob Cooter used to be with the Eagles for a year. He's been a play caller before. Nick Sirianni knows him because he already coached for the Eagles for 1 year as a senior offensive assistant. And there'll be other names, but Zach Robinson was one of the first guys to interview. He's from the McVay coaching tree. That's way different than a lot of these guys are looking at. And Brian Daboll, I just gave the answers to. As I mentioned before, Eagles like him, but he's got a lot of interest elsewhere. And these typically take about 2 weeks to get an offensive coordinator hired. When you're replacing somebody, it usually takes up to 2 weeks to find that guy.
Cap, I know we have a limited amount of time, but I do want to just go back to the Matt Nagy stuff, and maybe we'll get into this later in the week. How in the world is this guy getting a head coaching job? I don't understand it. How is Matt Nagy getting a job when he was bad in Chicago and has been bad since going back to Kansas City?
No, Kevin, here's the thing. It did end well. They made the playoffs with Mitch Trubisky. The thing with Nagy
because the defense.
He started off, though, nobody could figure out their offense. No defense could. And then what happened is it regressed. It got ugly. But Matt Nagy's worked with Mahomes and other quarterbacks, and that's what they like. Again, he knows Mike Berganti, the general manager. I mean, that one is just kind of – I had a pretty good feeling that he'd be the favorite. But, again, he has made the playoffs. Now, it got ugly. The fans turned on him. This typically happens when fans aren't happy. You know that. But,
yeah,
look, he has worked with a lot of quarterbacks, and that's why he's a big favorite right now.
All right, thank you as always, NFL Insider Adam Caplan. We've got the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao up next.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro Football Today, back right here on SportsGrid. We bring in the Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao. Of course, the team at SixScore.com been helping us out all season long, go through all the biggest injuries and the analysis. Doc, of course, we've got two great games, but I'm sure you know where I want to start with the Bo Nix injury yesterday. How many times have you guys watched this play where he seemingly hurt his ankle? What have you seen? Because it doesn't look like much to at least the untrained eye.
Well, I will admit, in real time, I didn't notice much of anything. Even going back and looking at it, I don't see a fracture. I do see on the kneel down play after the pass interference that he struggles to get up a little bit. But even post game, he stays on the field, walks around, slight hitch, dapping, other players up and hugging them. And okay, he doesn't jog and run off the field triumphantly, but he still walks off at his own power. And then within an hour, we not only have notification of a fracture, which I get because x-rays are in the stadium, and the potential surgery I get, but it's already scheduled. The second opinion is done, and it's scheduled for Tuesday, not like tonight. Like, just unusual set of circumstances. But I always say, if it doesn't make sense from the outside, it does from the inside. We just don't have all the details yet.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Doc. The fact that Sean Payton at the podium told us the surgery date. Again, you know so much better than any. That seemed odd. Like, I would have thought they would have tried to hold out hope that their quarterback could play. Or is that normal to you guys?
I think it's very unusual. I mean, on the one hand, it may be genius from Sean Payton where you say, let's get out the inevitable. Let's focus on Jarrett Stidham and getting ready for the next game and put that news cycle behind us. I don't know, but I can't remember the last time that someone has announced surgery and it wasn't that night or that day, right? This is scheduled fly to Alabama Tuesday. Look, the doctor, did you FaceTime or Zoom with the doctor already as a second opinion? I mean, it just all happened so fast. And I got to give it to Bo Nix, though. I mean, he's sort of the new, tough guy. Phillip Rivers, Matt Stafford, Josh Allen, right? I mean, he kept going with that fractured ankle.
Yeah, let's talk about the games today, Doc. New England and Houston. Houston does have Nico Collins out with a concussion. New England comes into this offense of game, no injuries. Talk to me about what's playing out injury-wise for both teams today.
Well, New England is definitely the healthier side, although Houston isn't bad in terms of injuries. Both teams are relatively healthy, but the key inflection point, and we talked about it earlier in the week, is that Nico Collins was going to get ruled out because it's his second concussion of the season, not because of the 6-day cycle from playing, and he is out. And Christian Gonzalez, number one corner, is in. And Kyrie's Tonga is in. Milton Williams is back. The O-line is healthy. So New England is the healthier side. And if you really think back to it, even in the run game with Trayvon Henderson or Ramondre Stevenson versus essentially just Woody Marks, which you have to remember started the year as RB3 behind Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb.
This is a matchup in terms of the Patriots and the Texans that has the closest sick edge of the weekend. Decided gap here, Doc, when I look on SixScore.com between Los Angeles and Chicago. When you guys have dove into this game, what's really stood out?
Well, the decided gap of the weekend was Seattle, and we were all over Seattle. That was a 17-point gap, 6 score, and the whole deal, and that was our guarantee, as amazingly as the 49ers have done, and that caught up to them. And even the special teams touchdown, because when starters get hurt and backups are special teamers, when backups become starters, special teams gets hurt, blah, blah, blah. The Rams are the healthier side today. Kevin Dotson back is going to be big for them. Devontae Adams healthier off the hamstring. Matthew Stafford, index finger, not an issue with the middle finger dominant grip. Cold weather is an issue for both sides. Rome Odunze, not healthy. I think he's going to have surgery at the end of his Bears season with the foot fracture.
Yeah, it's funny, Doc, you mentioned the Seattle game. If the Niners had pulled it off, I was just going to be like, hey, Doc, do you guys just kind of have to, treat the Niners differently? But I think it eventually did catch up to them. We saw that in a big way. And look, it's clearly going to – I'm curious to see how you guys have to shift everything for Denver next week. It's going to be interesting.
And it will be interesting, but I'm just glad we're not talking about Sam Darnold's oblique anymore. I was ready to get killed on that because I kept saying my worry was 2 out of 10. I was going to have to quit Twitter or something if that didn't come true. Everyone would have come after me on that one, and thankfully that was a complete non-issue.
Yeah, you were all set on that. Again, SixScore.com. They do an excellent job. You're going to need it throughout the rest of this postseason, undoubtedly. You can use promo code SportsGrid. You get the sick picks where that sick edge makes all the difference. The Pro Football Doc, Dr. David Chao. Doc, we appreciate it a ton. We will be right back after this break here talking Patriots, Texans on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back right here on a Sunday. Kevin Walsh alongside, of course, Joe Lisi. Excellent as always to talk to both Doc and Cap. We are still waiting for some of the coaching news to come out. There was some news, Joe, within the last couple of minutes that Brian Daboll is officially expected to interview for that Eagles offensive coordinator position. I know, is that to you is that the number one hire you think Philly should make on that spot?
Well,
or do you? I don't know, do you think McDaniel as an OC makes sense?
I have no problem with Daboll, McDaniel, but go for some. Jim Bob Cooter. Granted, all right. Look, this is a Ferrari now. And I know people argue that and say, oh, I still believe in Jalen Hurts. I believe in the ability. And if Kellen Moore got that offense to hum, I certainly think an elite offensive coordinator can elevate this team to the next level. But you need a guy that understands the talent and understands how to attack defenses. And again, I'm not going to a guy that couldn't maybe potentially coach up the Colts to a play. And I understand Daniel Jones got hurt. But we're not talking about a Super Bowl champion, winning OC, are we?
I just think the worry on Jim Bob Cooter is he's not been a head coach before. Meaning if he comes to Philly and has success, he's going to immediately be hired away. I also think the Eagles simply just have to realize that they are right now. So the report from Adam Schefter, to give people an idea, is, former Giants head coach Brian Daboll is expected to interview for the Eagles offensive coordinator job. Per sources, he has already interviewed for the Titans head coaching job. They are looking at guys for their offensive coordinator position that are interviewing for head coach positions.
Right.
If the Philadelphia Eagles were to fire Nick Sirianni, I actually think they would become the number one job on the market.
You would think?
I think so. You could argue it would still be Baltimore. I think that's on the board because of Lamar. But and the Eagles could very well miss out, Joe, on some of their top candidates. Right, where they know they need to get somebody in who can help with this offense because Sirianni is not capable of that, and they might miss out on it because they want to keep Sirianni. So listen, and then you end up picking from the Matt Nagy's of the world, who's an awful, atrocious hire. And I'm just going to make this very, very clear. Matt Nagy, my take on Matt Nagy is not because I don't like him. I am not a Bears fan. I could care less about that. It's because he's a bad head coach. And then his return to Kansas City has been nothing but poor. Again, I know I'm not on an island. Are you under the impression that Matt Nagy would be a good hire for Tennessee?
I think no. I think Kingsbury would be a much better hire.
He's had more success than Nagy.
More success, coaches up quarterbacks, and you have a young quarterback in Cam Ward. Certainly, you don't have wide receiver talent, but I think Cam Ward would benefit from his play calling.
Who is Nagy credited with
Matt
coaching
Nagy
up?
is a retread like the NFL continues to do with all these garbage guys. How is Arthur Smith getting a head coaching job? How is he interviewing? How do you call in Arthur Smith? For what?
Mm-hmm.
But they did it for years. Chan Gailey.
Yeah.
Norv Turner was another one that they used to have in the building. Just a great coordinator, terrible head coach. So you tell me. I just don't understand why we continue to do this.
I just don't understand. I'm so
why do we do it?
He got hired as an offensive coordinator under Andy Reid, right? Many people say, hey, he doesn't really
He
call
doesn't
the
get the
plays
credit
there.
for
Right. So then he takes the Chicago job. The first year they win 12 games. The defense is the best in football. The offense was outside of the top 20 in total yards, was top 10 in scoring. Then after that was bottom 10 in yards and scoring his remaining 3 years on the job. He goes back to Kansas City, where it's not like they've been good, and he doesn't do anything because everyone says Andy Reid does everything.
I agree.
So what would be the merit for hiring the guy? There is none.
No, because teams feel comfortable. See, again, they don't want to get outside. They love NFL guys,
just
lifers. He's a lifer.
Listen, I might be a little hung up on my Nagy analysis being
Matt
told
Nagy's
that it's because I don't like Matt Nagy. I've never met nor likely will ever meet Matt Nagy. It's just
Matt Nagy
assessing the situation with all of the obvious evidence we have in
Matt
reach.
Nagy with Trubisky, year one, overexceeded expectations.
But it wasn't like Trubisky was that good.
No.
That team was based on their defense. They were eliminated in a playoff game by the Eagles where I don't think either team scored 2 touchdowns. It was the double doink game. It's just a bizarre move from Tennessee. There are people in Kansas City who are begging for Nagy to be hired away. That's a real thing. That's
He's
a
not
real
good.
thing. I'm just
Xavier Worthy had 6 touchdown passes his rookie season. He had 1 last year. He had 17 less catches.
I know.
I mean, this is the offensive guru.
Just because we've talked a little coaches, and we have some of this within the show, and I think it's relevant, and we'll talk about it, of course. But, Joe, just some of these other openings and what we're expected around these jobs. We talked a little Baltimore. It's been, I feel, very quiet out of Cleveland and that head coaching search. I don't know about you, but I think the market is on it. At least this is the way it's steaming. It does seem like they're going to make Jim Schwartz their head coach. Upgraded from the defensive coordinator position. What kind of ceiling does that give them?
It's typical Cleveland Browns,
Right.
though. I mean, Cleveland is that blue-collar mentality, right? They used to have Marty Schottenheimer, Bill Belichick as head coaches. They went the offensive route with Stefanski. It got them to a certain, level, a playoff game and certain – I want to say, highs, but the lows were terrible. And so you bring in Jim Schwartz or you elevate him, and you have one of the most dominant players, if not the most dominant defensive player, Myles Garrett. And you look to, it's like that, look to run it. That's it. I mean, what do you think Jim Schwartz, unless Jim Schwartz hires like a very young, bright,
which I'm sure he will. Joe, it's just like
OC.
It's already knowing if everything works out with Schwartz, you're still going to be a part of that cycle of offensive coordinators in and out. Now, the thing for Cleveland though is they're so unsteady right now at the quarterback position. I wonder if Jim Schwartz could be kind of like a lame duck hire, a buffer hire. We've seen those, right? Houston was doing it. I wonder and I'm not trying to disrespect Jim Schwartz, but I just don't know if they think Jim Schwartz is going to be the guy for a long time in Cleveland.
No.
I'll tell you this, too. Arizona, over 40% to hire Vance Joseph.
Another defensive guy.
I can't figure that out
Vance
for the life of me. I cannot figure it out for the life of me.
This is what they do. You don't understand. The NFL is a hey, buddy league. Hey, buddy. Yeah, hey, buddy. Yeah. Good old boy.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up?
I'm
I'm the DC.
buddy.
Remember you ran all over my
buddy,
defense? Pal. That's what they like. It's the same thing. They don't look. You got to understand, and it's a business. They also want to feel comfortable. Some of these owners with the hire. It's the why did Jerry Jones hire Schottenheimer?
Well, I think honestly because he just wanted to keep McCarthy, and then McCarthy fumbled the bag. So he just upgraded Shoddy because.
What about McCarthy? He's not mentioned in any of these jobs, right?
People think he could get the Pittsburgh job.
He was mentioned for the Giant job before all this.
He was mentioned for the Tennessee job. I mean he's mentioned,
but
like
McCarthy to Tennessee isn't bad because again, that's not an elite franchise right now. Again, you can get maybe more with McCarthy.
Yeah, similar to Harbaugh.
Put it this way: Callahan was completely atrocious. He was horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, and he did again. It was almost like Eberflus with Caleb. They did a disservice to Cam Ward this year.
Yeah,
they really did. And again, I personally would hire it, and I know second time around. But Kingsbury, look, his offense, when you have the right quarterback, is lethal.
I think getting Kingsbury to one of these young quarterbacks would be enticing, and yet we're hiring
garbage DCs.
Older defensive coordinators. It is odd. All right, we'll whip it around. 2 divisional games up next right here on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's make it happen here on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. We're going to begin in Chicago, where the Bears have started, Joe, to, I think, take day of bets clearly. All those 4.5s are gone. There's 1-4 left out there. This is down to 3.5 here on Chicago. Total right now still settles in at 48.5, but there is a 49, so it looks like it'll go up more so than it would go down. What are you looking at here, Bears-Rams?
Street Ball Williams. I'm looking to take this game over. I think he has a big day on the ground. And I think Chicago can run on this front seven of L.A. I don't believe they're dominant. I do believe in the offensive identity now of Chicago. I think, again, the cold weather, I think will still be a problem for L.A. People are going to say they can play in it. That's all well and good. But again, not everybody on that team is built for that. Minus 10 degrees by the time 7:30 Eastern hits out. And I think Chicago right now just is playing with house money. I believe in Caleb Williams. I believe in his ability to improvise and step out. And again, when he's playing that style,
yep.
And I keep go to the fire hydrant, hang a left. It is it's just amazing. And Kev, he continues to attack vertically. Mm-hmm. The throws aren't sideline to sideline. They're 20, 30 chunk plays on every clip. And what have we seen out of LA's defense the past month and a half of the season? Detroit exposed them early. Jamison Williams, St. Brown, they won that game, but then Carolina took it a step further with Jay Coker, right? Don't be shocked. I do believe it's an under game because, again, I still believe red zone opportunities could maybe be field goals as opposed to touchdowns. And, again, we're not talking 41-42. We're almost talking 50 points in a divisional game, and I know they were able to do that in Denver, but I think the rushing attacks are a little more prevalent. Give me Swift and Caleb over their rushing total.
So I think this is a game where, because the weak point of the Rams looks to be their defense, and because I think the Bears' defense is just flatly bad, I would be more inclined to play the over. But I think this could be a really good game to get the props to eat. You know that I expect the Rams to win this football game. I have not mentioned my best bet yet on this show, but we're so close. You're only a couple minutes away. I'll tell you exactly what my best bet is going to be in this game. I do expect both of these quarterbacks to throw touchdowns. The Rams give up far more passing touchdowns than rushing. So I played Colston Loveland for a score. There's been a number of tight end touchdowns there. I think Loveland's it looks like he's just going to be a superstar in this league. The production
Phenomenal.
is incredible. It looks like they got the pick right in terms of him versus Warren, and that doesn't mean Warren's not going to be good. It just means Loveland feels like he could really be the guy. I played Blake Corum over his rushing yards, though, because I may not love how the Rams are using that backfield in terms of the 13 for Kyron, 11 carries for Corum split, but that is the split that they went with. And if the Rams project to be in front against the bad rush defense, I think it means Corum's going to still get at least 10 carries. At 45.5, I can trust Corum to get through that number. He has been a very efficient runner this year, Joe. Over 5 yards a carry. I think Corum is more than live to get it through that number. I was looking, not a lot of books offer the over total passing touchdowns in the game. I know Bet365 has it for those who bet there, minus 125, a little pricey. Again, I don't usually play over there, but I think that is on the board. I think you are going to see this game have some really, really good flow to it. For game number 2, the Patriots and the Texans, Joe, I guess I find myself leaning to the dog here. Looks like maybe you and I are kind of, doing the dance on this day. And I know you think New England's live, but the more we talk through this game, I really do believe you have offenses that can move it more than the books are expecting. I think that Drake May's finish to the game against the Chargers is more important than the start to the game against the Chargers. And I think he will play good football here against this Texans defense. And I think C.J. Stroud, like last week, he was actually abysmal. Like all of those turnovers, he has played 5 games already in his young career in the postseason. A 6th game here. I know it's on the road against a higher seed, but I think C.J. Stroud can hang in and give Houston a chance. I took both quarterbacks over 1.5 passing touchdowns, both at pretty good plus numbers.
Yeah, it's a great look. I mean, you have the more experienced quarterback that's been in this situation before, but he's probably not been in the situation where he has the better defense, right? And this is the first matchup where he has the better defense in the divisional round. Then you would say, okay, that should carry weight, especially travel on the road. The one thing I think that Drake May and this offense can do is push a little bit of tempo. Again, I believe in May enough and this offense playing at home that I don't think Vrabel's going to look a game plan this game and say, we're going to run it 40 times into that front 7. You're asking to get blown out, or similar type of game that Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh experienced. You have to be able to attack them vertically to run the football, and I think that you could do that with Drake May. And again, you bring up he's an MVP candidate, right? He was right there with Stafford. Well, now you have to show it in this type of situation, I lean to New England, right, sidewise.
Yep.
But I honestly think we could get through this total of 40.5. I think it's two defensive-minded teams, and I understand that the Chargers couldn't do anything.
Yep.
I just think that's more on Harbaugh and that offense being pathetic than what Houston will at least give you here. I think Stroud could give you enough.
Brothers
I don't
in
love it.
Brothers in arms, play of the day. Xavier Hutchinson.
I mean, look, to me, Hutchinson is a veteran. I'm not going to Kirk. I'm not going to Dalton Schultz. Again, call me crazy, and maybe it's just me, but if you go through the body of the work of the playoffs, very rarely do the number one and number two options come in. Now, again, is that just oddity, right, the way it's played out, or is it more of a concerted effort of these offensive staffs utilizing more personnel to get these tertiary and secondary options more looks?
Right.
Because, again, explain it. Marvin Mims, and I understand there were injuries yesterday. I get that. But Marvin Mims, Mecole Hardman, little Jordan Humphrey, who's Harry Crum, came off the John Candy came off, the late John Candy came off and scored a touchdown yesterday. I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
Look, I like Xavier Hutchinson. Last week he led this team in snaps, actually played in terms of wide receivers. I think with Nico Collins out, he projects to be on the field maybe more than anyone. And at 29.5, it is a very, very low number that he is more than capable of getting through. Up next, it's Best Bets. It's Sell Me Something. It's the divisional round. It's coming up right here on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Pro football today on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, divisional round around the corner. So excited. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. Now, I've not mentioned my best bet actually at any point yet in this show.
I knew it already.
That's fine. What do you mean by that? Wait, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Because I come in when I put in my best bets. I have a
system.
A system. I come in every morning, and I get with the producers before the show, and then they blurt out potentially something that you might have.
Blurt out. Wow. Again, with friends like this, who needs enemies? Why don't you start with your best bet, though? I don't want to break the order. Or do you want me to go first?
Do we break? Why? I always go first on the show?
Usually on the best bets, yeah.
All right, so I'll go first.
It is your first year on the show.
It is. Let me tell you, ratings, you got to see it. It was like straight up, I'll tell you.
What's the
handy dandy notepad.
Wow.
This might be history.
I'm lightheaded.
This might be history.
I'm lightheaded.
This could be history. Best bet on the show has always been a total.
Uh-huh.
And I've always given out overs.
Yep.
And I got to be honest. I don't know we our record keeping, but I want to say I believe the totals for me
Go ahead.
throughout the maybe last 2 or 3 years have been like at least 60%, 65%. I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay.
This is my first under, I believe, on the history of the show. The cold, blustery winds of Soldier Field. Yep. This might be my worst saying. I hate points are going to be at a premium, but points are going to be at a premium because I don't think the Rams.
Okay. You know what that is?
Billy Club?
Yeah, you're going to get smashed. This game's going to have 1,000 points in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, you know what? No friends today. You're going to get smashed.
24-20, Chicago wins. Under the 48.5. This is way too much. Dome team. Stafford, gutless Matt Stafford in the freezing cold with his veneers. No way. Not happening.
Listen, it is a historic. It's a historic pick out of you. So
Under.
You got to respect that. Not willing to zag when the moment calls for it. So I respect that as well.
I think it's a dead under today.
You just said it's going to have 45 points in it.
44.
It's
dead
3.5 off the total.
That's enough. Dead under.
Dead under. I'll tell you this. Lacey's going to be watching that first game begging for points because, again, if the first game goes over, no way, 3 straight overs, can't get 4, we're set. But if that first game's a snail, at least I don't know. Maybe we just bet this over late. Nobody has to know. For me, again, the play I apparently was blurting out. Devontae Adams, anytime touchdown. First time I think all year I've gone to the touchdown for a best bet.
Yeah, you really
never
went out on a limb.
Okay.
You went out on a limb with this one. Wow.
Minus 115. Didn't even get best of the number. Down to minus 110. Shop accordingly. He led the NFL in receiving touchdowns. Last week he tied a season high in 13 targets. The Bears are bottom 5 in passing touchdowns allowed. Last week they allowed 4 passing touchdowns to 4 different wide receivers. Devontae Adams is scoring in this game. I played him for 2. I'll play him for 3 if I have to. I'll play him for 4. Devontae Adams is scoring a touchdown in this game. You might want to side. You might want to total. You can call it cookie cutter all you want. Devontae Adams is scoring today against the Bears. Book it.
Cash the ticket already. It's already in. It's already in. Cha-ching.
Yeah. Tell you what. You want some better odds? Why don't you take your under with my touchdown score? It's still coming in. It's coming in. You know what? Forgive me. These are the guys I should be betting for touchdown.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sell me something.
We got a wheel play.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
How about Kyle Williams?
Sure.
Right?
Is that it?
No. 3 receiving touchdowns.
Uh-huh. Oh, there's that call.
Xavier Hutchinson. Making
up.
me nervous. Xavier Hutchinson.
Ugh.
Terrence Ferguson and Caleb Williams. All the score today. Ferguson, I think, is back in the lineup. He's a big play. We know how Stafford loves the tight ends.
Yeah.
Forget Higbee. Forget Parkinson. It's the kid from Oregon that's going to step up. Street ball is already in the barn. I already know. He might have 2 today. Street ball Williams. 2 of the 24 points for Chicago.
Hard part done.
2 touchdowns.
Xavier Hutchinson.
Hutchinson's this is it. It's already
Looks
in the
like
barn.
a phone number, the odds of that thing. Unbelievable. I'm taking the Trevion Henderson rushing ladder. I took him for 50. I took him for 70. I took him for 80. I took him for 100. I took him for 120.
All right.
38 to 1 for 120. Get it! Wrap up at the line! More Ramondre! Don't worry, I see it from you, pal. Oh, my goodness. Divisional round's going to be great. We can't wait.